true meaning of the second seal will shock you.
And the second seal was opened.
The red horse was given power to take peace from the earth.
What? You think I came to bring peace? No! Division! I come to bring a sword!
And it was given him a great sword.
From now on there will be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. The Father will be divided against the Son, and the Son against the Father. A man's enemies will be those of his own household.
Shadows start to fade as the truth comes in sight. On the 4th day, he said, "Let there be light. Let there be light."
Now you probably noticed in the intro how Jesus was speaking and quoting from Luke chapter 12. Pay attention to what he's saying, because he did say, I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. Now what's he talking about? How is this all related? At the time of this recording, it's a week away from modern day Easter. And every Easter, what Christians will do is they will go to church and they will worship what they see as the Passover lamb. Now I am not in disagreement that Jesus is symbolically the Passover lamb. The issue is what that means. You see, in ancient Egypt, God told Pharaoh, I will put division between my people and your people. And what Moses said to Pharaoh that day was, we need to go 3 days journey into the wilderness. Why? Because he said, we're going to sacrifice the God of the Egyptians. And if we do that, you're going to stone us. In ancient Egypt, the lamb or the ram was represented by many Egyptian gods. So you can imagine how offensive it would be if you were sitting in the land of Egypt in ancient days. The Israelites were told to go and kill the Egyptian god and slaughter it right in front of them. Egypt would be very highly offended of what you just did to their deity. Now this issue stems way back before the time of the Exodus. If you notice, you'll see that Joseph, when he was in the land of Egypt, he gave the land of Goshen to his family where they could be shepherds there. This offended the Egyptians because every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians. Why? Because they were shepherding their gods. If Jesus is the Passover lamb, understand what this represents and what this is meaning. Why Jesus is saying he came to bring division. Because there's a division between Egypt and Israel. If someone says anything against Jesus to a Christian, they're highly offended. Same way as it would have been back then if you said or did anything against the God of the Egyptians, the Lamb. So God is creating a division between these two things. And that is what Jesus is trying to tell his audience. I came to bring division. I came to bring a sword, not peace. When he says a man's foes are those of his own household, he's quoting from Micah chapter 7. In Micah chapter 7, take a look and see what Jesus is quoting from. For the son dishonoreth the father, the daughter rises up against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are they of his own household. Therefore I will look unto Jehovah, I will wait for the God of my salvation, my God will hear me. Rejoice not against me, O mine enemy. When I fall I shall rise. When I sit in darkness, Jehovah shall be a light unto me. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, Where is Jehovah thy God? Mine eyes shall behold her, now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. So what this passage is talking about is the people that are in exile, waiting for the redemption and the regathering of their people. They are praying and saying, I will bear the indignation because I've sinned against God. People back then would pray for their own sins, but the account of the sins of their nation. That's why you see Daniel in Daniel chapter 9 praying for the sins of his nation. It wasn't just his sins that he was asking for forgiveness for, it was for the whole nation's sins. So what's Jesus saying here? Well, same thing with the Passover lamb. Many are going to go to church in a week from now, and they're going to celebrate Easter, and they're going to worship the Passover lamb. Now, at the same time, many of us who are Israel, we won't be in the church. We're going to be celebrating Passover, Pesach, and we deny the lamb. We're going to be eating unleavened bread and keeping the feast that our God gave us. So there's a distinction, there's a division between these two parties. And God is using Jesus to create this division. Well, take a look at the things he spoke. He said, he that is not with me is against me. What does this mean? It means if you're not keeping the covenant of the God that I worship, then you're not with me, you're against me. Those who are in the church are not with Jesus. They're against him. Why? Because they're not keeping the covenant that Jesus kept of his God. Jesus was a Jew. He worshiped the God of Israel, Jehovah. He came in his Father's name. He said he came not to do his own will, but the will of him who sent him. So we should do likewise. And if you do, there will be a division between Israel and Egypt, the church and Israel scattered abroad. This is why you're seeing families having arguments at this time. This is the division. This is the persecution of the righteous who are worshiping the God of Israel, and the others are getting offended at the people that are not worshiping Jesus. And people are wondering, why aren't they in church anymore? Why aren't they doing this? Because they don't see with their heart. They don't understand the story of Passover. Jesus is the Passover lamb. Pay attention to what this means. If you'll also recall, when Moses came back down from the mountain, he found everybody worshiping the golden calf, an idol. And when he came back down, the ones that were faithful to the covenant was Levi. And they were given the priesthood. Why? Because they did not worship the idol that everyone else was worshiping. And look at the blessing that Moses gave to Levi. Of Levi he said, Let thy Tumim and thy Urim be with thy Holy One, whom thou didst prove at Massah, and with him thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word and kept thy covenant. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments, and Israel thy law. They shall put incense before thee, and hold burnt sacrifice on thine altar. Many in the church are saying that they are priests of God. However, they're not taking heed to the very law of the God they say they worship. Hosea 4:6 says, You will be no priest to me, seeing you have forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget your children. So there's a division between these two parties, Egypt and Israel. One worships the Passover lamb, one denies the Passover lamb. He is creating the division between these two parties. Same thing that happened in Exodus chapter 8 when God said, I will make a division between Egypt and Israel. So from now until the time of the redemption, you're looking at everything going on in Israel right now with all the bombings with Iran and everything like that. Until the time and the day of Yehovah comes, you will see this division, and it will only get worse. And what we're supposed to be doing is taking our swords out like the Levites did, slaying our family members. Look around you. You're seeing it all over the place. People that have come out of the church and they're not worshiping Jesus anymore. And they're keeping the covenant and keeping the Sabbaths and doing the things that the God of Israel told them to do. There is now a division because of this man, because of Jesus. That's why peace is taken from the earth. So God is going to find out who was on his side and who worshiped the lamb instead of sacrificing the lamb and keeping his covenant. This is why you see Peter being told to deny Jesus on the night of Passover. This is why you see Jesus saying, all of you will be offended of me this night. Because on Passover, those that keep the covenant of God, the Passover lamb is offensive. So when you see in the book of Revelation, the first vial that's poured out of wrath, the people were highly offended. They had a noisome and grievous sore. They were highly offended upon those that worship the beast in his image. If someone tells you to stop worshiping Jesus, that it's idolatry, you become highly offended because that's your God. Same thing as in ancient Egypt. If you were to do anything to the Egyptians' God, the lamb, they would be highly offended. They would want to stone you. For every shepherd was an abomination to the Egyptians. So this is what's going on today. And so it's time to make a choice. You either keep the covenant that God gave or you worship the lamb. But God's going to find out who's his and who isn't until the day of Yehovah comes and the redemption of Israel comes, and one shall be taken, the other left. Two shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken, one shall be left. And where are they going? They're going to Israel, to Jerusalem, for the redemption and the greater Exodus, the second Exodus that God promised that he would be known by. No longer will he be known as the God that took the people out of Egypt, but he'll be known as the God that took the people out from the north, the south, the east, the west, and then they're gathered back into their own land. So hopefully that clears up the confusion on what this third seal is. That's what it's revealing. Division between two parties, between Egypt and Israel, between the church and Israel, between those who worship the Lamb and those who deny the Lamb. If this content opened your eyes, please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below and let me know. Your feedback helps me make new videos so I know which way to go. Hopefully this will clear up why you're seeing so many families arguing with each other. Families are kicking each other out of their house because of this issue, because of Jesus. And it's because he's the Passover lamb that it creates the very division that we're talking about. You have to choose. Joel chapter 2 says, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. The day of Yehovah is near with the valley of decision. You're going to have to choose between Jesus and Yehovah. For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yehovah shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and the remnant he shall call. Choose wisely.
Shadows start to fade as the truth comes in sight. On the fourth day, he said, let there be light. Let there be light.